Good morning, everybody. We'll start at 9 a.m. Eastern on the dot. See you then. All right, good morning, everybody. It is Monday, January 31st, 9 a.m. Eastern. We're doing this public live stream as a bit of an open house to show our normal routines and how we do things here with the chart guys. Just note that this pre-market right now is not my pre-market setup. I wake up at 6 in the morning and 6 to 7:30, I do the whiteboard and it's written out technical analysis, and that ensures that I am looking at a few dozen of the major stocks and sectors, and that helps me ensure that I have a grasp on what the market is doing as a whole before we get into it. And then this live stream is just tying together all the loose ends to get ready for things. This is my Fidelity screen, Fidelity Active Trader Pro, and this is where I watch all the different sectors, and I'm just constantly looking for relative strength, relative weakness, which sector's going up, who's going down, are our sectors hitting high of the day at the same time, etc. I take requests for tickers from ChartGuys members, which I'll be doing here shortly. But first, my little rundown. So looking at the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ futures charts, where I find clarity is on the 4-hour time frame right now. So that chart is my guide for the day. And if we want to keep it simple, the simple statement for this week is that if the bulls are going to prove anything to us, we have to break bounce highs from last week. So for most names, that's the high of January 26th. So that's an important level for me to break. And the simple statement is, if we do not break the high of January 26th, the bears keep complete control on the daily time frame. So that is a must break level this week. The sooner the better. And looking at the S&P 500 futures chart, again, that 4-hour time frame being my gauge, I'm looking at, is this a bull flag? So I'm watching the retracement size from the move from Friday. I'm watching EMA support, and I can make a simple statement here as well. If 4-hour EMA 12 support holds, it's a bull flag, which would be favorable because obviously the best case for the bulls to start this week would be a 4-hour bull flag to take out the high of Friday, or the high of overnight, I should say, last night, as well as the high of the bounce from last week. So that is best case scenario for the bulls would be a 4-hour bull flag. If the retracement size is more significant than that, and if we lose the EMA supports on the 4-hour time frame, then we have the possibility of seeing a tightening range form. And at that point, we would have to wait for later in the week for any kind of clarity. This is the 12-hour time frame, so that would look something like our low, high, higher low, double bottom. And if we fail resistance here, it is possible that we just remain within a tightening range for the first couple days of this week. So this morning, the first 2 hours of trading are going to be pretty important to dictate, is it a 4-hour bull flag, or is the retracement size more significant, which would be a red flag for the bulls. The NASDAQ is very similar, but it's a bit stronger. So again, doing my morning pre-market rundown, I could see that the NASDAQ is a bit stronger than the S&P 500. That's notable to me because if you've been watching closely over the last few weeks to the downside, the NASDAQ has been leading the way down, of course, with IWM and our growth names. But when we're looking at XLF and the energy sector and value side of things versus QQQ and the NASDAQ has been weaker. So it's notable to me that pre-market right now, it's standing out as a bit stronger. And we can look back to last week and say, okay, well, that is likely due to Apple earnings, because we know that it was Apple's bullish earnings reaction that really gave the bulls their first sign of confidence on Friday into the weekend. So that tells me, okay, the NASDAQ is key for this bounce. And that tells me that Apple is extremely key for this bounce as well. So I'm watching Apple's high of Friday first thing. That level is 170.35. We are currently just over that level. And again, I'm viewing the Apple as the bounce general leader, and it needs to keep its strength for the NASDAQ and the rest of the tech sector to keep confidence. And keeping in mind, we have a lot of earnings this week still. We've got Google, Facebook, Amazon. Those are all going to have impact. Most of those are Tuesday through Thursday. So we have to keep that in mind as well. And again, best case for the bulls would be Apple breaking its high of pre-market, 172.01, and keeping full control, leading the charge for the bulls, trying to get this broader market bounce going. The dollar is pulling back on the daily, but we know it's been a significant bull move up, and there's a lot of space for a daily higher low to form on the dollar. Have we confirmed a 4-hour downtrend? We did. So keeping an eye out for a daily higher low this week. And again, watching our retracement size. And right now, it's still a possible bull flag with a lot of space to work with. And that EMA 12, a good visual guide to say that if EMA 12 holds, then the daily consolidation on the dollar remains healthy. The metals certainly had weakness with that dollar strength. We had that gold 4-hour rising wedge break bear with a lot of follow through. We're looking for a short-term bounce in these metals, especially if the broader market gets some bounce follow through as well. but there's a lot of space for daily lower highs to be the result of this bounce. And again, we're gauging retracement size to determine probabilities. Is the bounce retracement a weak 382 that keeps the bear flag on the table, or is the daily bounce significant enough to see 50% retracement and create space for the daily higher low once we top out? We're watching that for both gold and silver. Again, the most likely scenario is a daily lower high, but is it a bear flag lower high, or is it a potential equilibrium lower high? And the size of the bounce helps us determine the probabilities of those two scenarios. The miners are going to try and test the high of Friday first thing. So for GDX, 2944 is in play, but make note that even if we break the high of Friday, we still haven't changed the hourly trend off the low of Friday. So a break of the high of Friday would be a good start to the week, but we know that hourly trend change is inevitable if we're going to have any confidence in daily bounce follow through taking place. So we will have to see an hourly higher low and higher high at some point for us to have any confidence in the daily bounce, but like the metals, we will just be looking for the daily lower high to be the result of that bounce, at least initially. Oil is still extremely strong. Anything, I'm using the March futures contract here, anything above 81.90 is a daily higher low. And right now we're seeing a little bit of sideways action. You can look at this as a 4-hour equilibrium tightening up. If it breaks bear, we zoom out and scout a daily higher low, anything above 81.90. And if it breaks bull, we test the high of this entire move, 88.84. We know the energy sector has been one of our strongest sectors recently. It's trying to form a little daily bull flag. And natural gas with an extremely significant move. You can look and say, well, the big storm in the Northeast, but volatility galore in both directions over the last month with just big breakout, big pullback, and now another big breakout. What this does is it has confirmed a weekly trend change with our lower high, higher low, and now a higher high. So that is a weekly uptrend now. But we zoom out bigger picture and we keep an eye out for anything under 641 to be a monthly lower high. And generally with the size of this retracement on the monthly time frame, I would anticipate a monthly lower high is the more likely scenario. So I'm going to be scouting a monthly tightening range in Q1 2022 here for natural gas. Bitcoin rejecting from daily EMA 12. That's our simple guide on Bitcoin. If daily EMA 12 is resistance, the bears have complete control. It has been resistance for over a month at this point, and we have rejected from it twice on this current bounce attempt. That being said, we have a nice clear tightening range. We know we've had significant correlation with the broader stock market, so that's going to have significant impact. If we break the highs of last week in the stock market, I anticipate Bitcoin is going to test its bounce highs. And if we don't, and if bears keep control of the broader market, then that will likely remain the case for Bitcoin as well. But I'm viewing Bitcoin as the low, high of the bounce, higher low, failed to break resistance over the weekend, and now we're scouting a higher low on the daily, anything above 35.5 thousand. That's the most important short-term support level for me, but it really is just a tightening range over the last 6 days, and we should see a break of this tightening range this week. So plays I'm watching today, I have some open positions. Generally, I don't trade in the first 20, 30 minutes of trading, especially while live streaming when I'm a bit more distracted, unless I have high conviction. And I'll have high conviction if there's a clear futures setup for me, or if I'm top fishing or bottom fishing. So if we're testing a key level from the previous day right away in the first 10 minutes of trading, I'll sometimes make a trade off of that level. But generally, I'm waiting for the morning to sort itself out and to get some clarity in the short term. I currently have only bull exposure. So for me, that means I'm keeping a little bit of a bear lean in the trades that I'm scouting this morning, just to have some exposure to the bear side for the potential of some protection. So my long exposure right now is NIO bounce from Friday, swung a position there, and it's a very comfortable position. I sold enough that my break even on the trade is under the low of Friday. So we're seeing a gap up open attempt here, and I'm liking how we're shaping up. Hourly uptrend confirmed with a break of 21.32. Next resistance on NIO, I'm looking at resistance on the daily at 22.81. So we'll look at 22 psychological and 22.81 from there. And again, my goal here is a solid daily bounce, and I'm targeting daily EMA 12. So I'm going to hold this position, and knowing that I'm holding this swing size position, I know that I'm going to sit through hourly consolidation. And I don't like when my account drops, when I have swing positions going through consolidation. So I try and offset that. So for example, this morning, knowing that I'm long NIO and I'm long SPY, no touch position from the COVID dump, and I have some MNMD, which is a small position, but it's a high risk psychedelic name, played off the double bottom on Thursday and Friday, stops under 90 cents there. But knowing that I only have long exposure, what I'm watching for first thing here is the potential of a top fishing play. Do we see a clear resistance rejection from an individual name that I can make a bearish entry on and then have some low risk exposure to the downside if we do see some weakness? So just looking around at things, seeing that the financial sector is weaker than QQQ, we got QQQ gapping up. I'm watching to see if XLF rejects from 38.73, the high of Friday, and maybe I can make an FAZ entry, which is the 3 times leveraged bear. Maybe I can make an FAZ entry top fishing XLF's high of Friday. So that's one trade that I'm looking for, but mostly I'm going to be monitoring NIO and trying to see that daily bounce follow through. So for now, we're getting into Chart Guys members ticker requests. So first one, we got Apple. So again, Apple is the general of the bounce. It is the leader of the bounce for me. And we have a gap up open shaping up, although not a convincing one. We're right there. So again, the last thing that bulls want to see is Apple reject from the high of Friday or break it with zero follow through straight into hourly consolidation. The vast majority of individual names have a clear hourly higher low to go off of from Friday. And we can see it here on Apple. That level is 166.52. For bulls looking for bounces, this hourly support from Friday afternoon is the most important level. We must continue to hold hourly higher lows to continue an hourly uptrend if we're going to break daily resistances. And Apple doesn't have a daily resistance that it needs to break here, but QQQ, SPY, and a ton of other individual names do have resistance that they need to break. So if we fail 170.35, breaking that with any follow through, we look for the hourly higher low, anything above 166.52. If we break that high of Friday, high of pre-market is 172.01 as the next level to be looking at. But the bulls have a lot of space right now. When we do top out on this bounce and when we lose the hourly uptrend, lots of space for a daily higher low to form, knowing that the bulls do still need to change the daily trend back in their favor. But the hourly uptrend is our guide as to how much follow through on this bounce the bulls can see. Spot, SPOT. So Spot trying to get a bounce going, definitely one of the more beat up names. And there's two groupings of names that we have here with the most common setup that we have on daily charts right now. There's names like SPY, QQQ, and NVDA that formed a daily higher low on Friday. And there's names like IWM, XBI, and growth-related names that formed a lower low on Friday. So names that broke to a lower low have more work to do to get to daily resistance levels. And names that held support are obviously stronger. So I look at a name like Spot and I can easily see, okay, it's one of the weaker versions because we broke to a lower low on Friday and anything under 192.91 is just a daily lower high and that's still a bit of a ways away. So pre-market here, we got a big gap up open. That is an hourly trend change from Friday confirming for the bulls. And we're looking at daily resistance from here. Again, it's at 190, we'll just call it 193 is that resistance level. And what the bulls are hoping for is an hourly uptrend to be maintained long enough to create enough space on this daily bounce to set up an eventual trend change. But we can see here earnings are coming up, and those earnings are on Wednesday, it looks like. So earnings are going to have a very significant impact in the short term. But for now, a gap up open, and anything above 168.18 will be an hourly higher low next time we consolidate. And again, keeping an eye on some consolidation, keeping an eye out for some consolidation with such a notable gap up open. There's also short-term resistance here. 187.19 is a little double top on the hourly chart. LCID, another name that's been real beat up, and again, not gapping up. If the bulls are going to prove anything short-term, we got to confirm the hourly trend change and get over 28.43. If we break 28.43, it's a confirmed hourly trend change, and we zoom out and then look for a daily lower high with tons of space for it to form. But the daily bounce will be underway if we break that high of Friday, which is in play first thing. From there, we can see there's not a whole lot of clear resistance. We're just looking at psychological levels. So after 28.43, we'll look to 29. And again, bulls need to maintain the hourly uptrend to keep this daily bounce going to try and create the space for an eventual daily trend change attempt further down the road. BABA. So BABA bulls are looking for a gap up open. Again, earnings later this week. Looks like that is on Wednesday as well. Have to keep an eye on that and always double check earnings dates because TradingView is definitely wrong plenty of times. So anything on the hourly above 111.65 is an hourly higher low. And again, that's the Friday level. With the gap up open, we're looking at the high of pre-market as a resistance level, 117.36. And then from there, I'm looking at this daily lower high level of 122.46. Best case for the bulls, and again, it's going to be earnings that dictates whether this happens or not, but we're either going to hold a triple bottom at daily support here, or weekly support, I should say, and see a bullish reaction to earnings to test 138.70 key resistance, or a bearish reaction to earnings falling through this triple bottom. But it's going to be earnings that dictate, which we see. But right now, it's a very clear triple bottom that bulls are defending. SPCE. So daily support of 758 did hold. And that stands out because most growth names did drop to that lower low. But SPCE I would consider a growth name, and it did not. So the bulls must break 915 to hold daily support and break short-term daily resistance. We have a little gap up open trying to form. Next time we see hourly consolidation, anything above 780 is an hourly higher low. And again, it's going to be all about 915 short-term resistance, and the daily EMA 12, which has been resistance forever, that is going to be aligning with that price level of 915 for the first couple days this week. KC on the NASDAQ. Thanks for specifying. So KC, we're in a stair-step drop the last 6 days, just big bear volume. That bear volume is very convincing as far as follow through for the bears. Short-term support at 725 and 711, and we know the bulls are not going to prove a thing unless we break 792. If we don't break 792, bears keep absolute complete control. If we break 792, the daily bounce will be underway, keeping in mind that there is tons of space for a daily lower high to be the result of the next bounce. And we are at all-time lows black dirt breakdown, so this is literally the weakest name that you can find as far as being on a downtrend on every single time frame and at all-time lows. So just keep that in the back of our mind while we're watching for any bounces to attempt and play out. We will be looking for a daily lower high to be the result of any bounce. And again, we're watching retracement sizes. Does the daily bounce give enough space for an eventual daily trend change to shape up or not? NVDA. So NVDA is all about daily supports from last week. So we have the low of 208.88 and a higher low of 212.96. If the bulls are going to prove anything, we must break 240.57 for a little higher low and higher high. Pre-market, we have a gap up open. And again, when we're looking at hourly support levels, we've got the levels from Friday afternoon, but that's now a long ways away. Let's say I'm in a position already and I want to have a closer gauge of strength. I'm using the pre-market level of 228.40. And I can say if 228.40 holds, the bulls keep complete control in the short term. But if that level breaks, then we're going to be looking for some more prolonged consolidation. So if I want to be aggressive with profit taking, then I'm using that pre-market level rather than the regular trading hours level. But it is all about 240.57 to start this week and whether or not the bulls are able to break that level. And again, there's the possibility where if we fail that resistance that we just form, this is the 4-hour time frame right now, that we just form a tightening range to start this week. And that would be the possible scenario where our futures charts see 4-hour retracement that is over 40% plus to the downside. We lose EMA support on the 4-hour time frame. So again, that is one of the possible scenarios, is a tightening range to start this week. And those futures charts are going to be our guides today on the 4-hour time frame. GIS. So GIS is looking way different than anybody else so far. So certainly doing its own thing to a certain degree. And if I condense this down to the 2-day time frame, I can look at this and say, okay, that's a bull flag attempt. Simple statement, if 67.26 holds, then it's a bull flag. So we're looking up at resistance of 69.95. And if 69.95 breaks, we're up at all-time highs, confirming the bull flag. So an extremely strong chart. And on the hourly, we've got our Friday support level of 68.59. If the bulls are to keep complete control, 68.59 support needs to be maintained. And obviously at this point, we would have to see a bear break of 67.26 for bulls to lose momentum. So NIO, gap up open, hourly uptrend is our guide. Anything above 2011 is an hourly high or low. And again, resistance is limited, so we're looking up at the high of pre-market, 2176, and then 22 psychological behind it. And bigger picture, we zoom out knowing that we are just looking for a daily lower high to be the result of this bounce with tons of space for it to form. PLTR, also trying to hold a higher low. It's another growth name that held support, whereas the biotech sector, IWM, they dropped to lower lows. So relatively speaking to other growth names, it has a bit of relative strength. We know the bulls must break 1382 to prove anything to us. We are not gapping up, so we have not confirmed an hourly trend change back to the bulls yet. We must hold 1225 and break 1288 to confirm the hourly trend change. And then from there, we would zoom out, and it would be all about 1382 for the rest of the week from there. If we fail 1288 on the morning, we've got an hourly equilibrium and tightening range to be watching. Again, with 1225 as the most important support. So bulls have not proven that daily higher low yet. We have to break 1288 to do so. The ICI. So this looks more like the financial sector here, where we had a solid bounce on the daily and we're forming a daily higher low. If we break 2843, we break the high of the bounce. Anything on the hourly above 2732 is an hourly higher low. And if we do see a bull break of 2843, then we're then zooming out and looking at weekly resistance with anything under 3036 being a weekly lower high. But definitely one of the stronger names, well above our fear low. And again, if you look at the financial sector, it's similar, but the financial sector is a bit weaker this morning. EEM. So EEM trying to get a daily bounce going. Hourly time frame, we have an uptrend confirmed now with a solid gap up open. Anything above 4681 is an hourly higher low. As far as the next resistance level, we're looking at 4768. And then the next level after that, I'm looking up at 4858. And I would consider anything under 4858 as a daily lower high. Bulls need a big enough bounce to try and create the space for an eventual daily trend change attempt, and the size of the gap up, definitely a good sign as far as getting some solid bounce follow through, but we are still in a daily downtrend as long as 4858 resistance remains, so we have to keep that in mind. RBLX. Trying to get the bounce going. Hourly needs the 59.90 break to confirm the trend change. Hourly support is 56.28. It's at this point in the show where I can speed up technical analysis because there's so many repeat patterns doing the same thing. So hourly trend change needed. Just going to scout a daily lower high to be the result of this bounce with tons of space for it to form. Bulls must break the high of Friday for any kind of daily bounce to get going. XOM is a lead bull with the energy sector here. Inside bar on Friday. So that's a key short-term support of 73.95. If 73.95 breaks, we look to daily support of 69.81 as a must-hold level to maintain the daily uptrend. And resistance is a double top at 76.01. So really, if we're looking just short-term here, 73.95, a double bottom Thursday, Friday, and 76.01, a double top from Wednesday, Thursday. Netflix gap up open after an upgrade. 400 psychological resistance, and then the key level from there is 409.15. The goal for the bulls this week is to get into gap fill territory where there is no previous price resistance to worry about, and it's a lot easier for the bulls to make headway. So hourly uptrend will be our guide, tons of space for an hourly higher low, anything above 372.08, and it's going to be a test of 400 psychological resistance. So this is definitely a lead tech bull on the morning because we're getting this bump from that upgrade. And we'll see if the bulls can keep those gains once we open on the gap up. AMD hourly trend change for the bulls on Friday. Gap up open. Anything above 128 is an hourly higher low. And daily resistance, anything under 117.16 is a daily lower high. Earnings on Tuesday are going to dictate the short term here. So bullish reaction to earnings, we'll look for a weekly bounce. Bearish reaction to earnings, and we're going to be right down to fresh lows. Amazon earnings later this week, looks like Thursday. Anything on the hourly above 28.03 is an hourly higher low to keep the uptrend going. And we are looking at the high of last week's bounce of 23.04 in play first thing. So all about 23.04, and if that level breaks, it is essentially negating the potential daily bear flag. Needs some follow through over that level, but from there, without many clear previous price levels, I'm just looking at daily EMA 12, which has rejected the last bunch of bounce attempts And that's the next level that I'm going to look at if the bulls are able to get over 2904 resistance. Tesla. So Tesla, weaker name because of its leg down after earnings last week. But with the break of 857.50, it is a confirmed hourly uptrend. So now we zoom out. Anything above 813 is an hourly high or low. But again, we're just looking for a daily lower high to be the result of this bounce. There's a bunch of individual names where the names that dropped to lower lows last week, like Tesla, XBI, IWM, they have potential for inverse head and shoulders to shape up. But they need a green day today for that to shape up. And it would be a left shoulder. This would be the head if we get bounce follow through. Anything under 987.69 is a daily lower high. But then I'd be watching for something like that. And again, if we look at IWM, man, not as good an example. XBI, they're losing a bit of their clarity, but I'm viewing it as a left shoulder. This is the head. If we see green today, but fail daily resistances, I'm going to be watching for 4-hour inverse head and shoulders. But that's just looking a little bit into the future. And I'll know a lot more after today's trading as to whether or not those patterns are going to be at the forefront of my attention for the middle of this week. IWM. So again, bulls have more work to do. And we got the hourly trend change confirmed on Friday. We're going to test the high of Friday first thing. So again, the morning is going to play out one of two ways. We're either going to break that level and continue this bounce to be looking at daily resistance of 203.55, or we're going to fail the high of Friday first thing and then see further consolidation looking back towards 188.44 support from Friday afternoon. And again, if I want a support level that's closer nearby, I can use that low of pre-market for a level the bulls certainly want to maintain to remain within striking distance of 195.31 high of Friday resistance. A lot of correlation with uranium names and IWM. So certainly watching that for signs of bullish or bearish correlations, but hourly trend change confirming with the break of the high of Friday. So now we zoom out. I can look at the high of Thursday resistance as a level 614, but I know the most important level for me on the daily is 654, our daily lower high resistance. So bulls trying to get some bounce going, but if we do not break 654 this week, bulls do not prove a thing and the daily lower highs remain. MSFT. So MSFT is a lead tech bouncer as well. And high of last week bounce, 308.50, is in play first thing. It's a double top. If we reject, we look for an hourly high or low, anything above 299.95. If we break that double top, it's a quick little higher low and continuation with the next resistance 313.91. But again, the further space the bulls can put between the price and the fear low, the better. And Microsoft is definitely putting a decent amount of space between price and that fear low. But clear double top 308.50 resistance test first thing. BA, just a heads up, I was scrolling through Netflix the other day and saw that there's a bearish documentary coming out on BA mid-February. I assume a lot of that is priced in because big money already knows that well in advance, but retail might not. So just be aware of that. But we've got the bounce attempt here, hourly trend change Friday. We're going to test the high of Friday first thing at 190.72, but that daily resistance of 206.21 is a long ways away. We can go 5% and still be under that level. So we're just going to be watching for a daily lower high, anything under 206.21, and the hourly uptrend will be our guide. When we lose the hourly uptrend, it's the first indication the daily lower high is shaping up. PANL. I don't know what these lines are from. It's probably something from way back here. But that resistance line is in play. So I drew this line back in October. And it's still acting as resistance. Previous support, now resistance. So I'm looking at 401, and 405 as key resistance levels. Hourly support is 384. And still haven't confirmed a daily trend change for the bulls. This is all the same bounce to me. So if we see a loss of the higher low each day pattern, we'll scout a daily higher low compared to 360. So a triple top of resistance in the low $4 range to be tested first thing this week. And if we fail those levels, we'll scout a daily higher low compared to 360. MARA. So again, watching Bitcoin's daily lower highs and EMA 12 resistance, MARA does have a double bottom to the penny at 1943, and the goal for the bulls this week is break 24.22. So we're going to test the high of Friday first thing. Hourly support is 20.51, but it is all about daily resistance up 24.22. So here's the open. Get back to tickers in just a second. Great open on NIO. Couldn't have asked for anything better. 22 psychological resistance there. My other swing, MNMD, has already broken the high of Friday. That's a good sign. So again, I'm not looking to make any active trades here first thing. I'm just patiently watching. Very clearly, XLF and XLV are weaker, and QQQ is stronger. And IWM is a bit weaker as well. So what I'm watching is high of Friday resistance levels on all of our sectors, knowing QQQ has already broken bull, and watching to see, does anybody else break bull as well? If we're going to have full-on market confidence, bulls want to see all sectors doing well. But right now, it is clearly QQQ leading the way. And we're watching the high of pre-market on QQQ. If we're going to really have bulls make a statement on the morning, they need to get over 354.57 to break that high of pre-market, which would be, it's actually 354.60. But that would be the futures chart confirming a little 4-hour bull flag. IWM's at the high of the day as well, so I'm watching that IWM high of Friday resistance, 195.31. Bulls want to see that level break. NIO is getting great follow through. If my position size were bigger with NIO, I would definitely be taking some profit right now. But again, I took some profit on Friday, and I'm down to a swing size, so comfortable sitting through periods of consolidation, knowing that'll be inevitable. So now very quickly, QQQ is at the low of the day. So watching this shift, and also watching to see how is XLF responding. Is XLF going to go inverse to QQQ and now try and test its high of the day? Or are we going to see weakness in all of our major sectors? IWM is still holding on well near its high of the day, all things considered. But if QQQ drops down and breaks its low pre-market, 351.08, that'll definitely be a little bit of a red flag for short-term bulls. XLF at the low of the day. So we are not seeing an inverse relationship between those two major sectors, QQQ and XLF. So bears trying to come out swinging after an initial little bull bump. And if we break that low pre-market on QQQ, we will look for an hourly higher low compared to 342.76. And oftentimes I'm all the way zoomed in on the 1 minute time frame here. QQQ loves to have V-shaped bounces, but I'm watching now the next 1 minute bounce. Do we just set a 1 minute lower high, keeping bears in control? Or are bulls able to battle back? So I got two monitors where I'm looking at charts, and this is one screen that you're all seeing, and on my other screen I've got QQQ 1 minute time frame up. So currently the 1 minute bounce is underway, and watching to see if it's just a 1 minute lower high. XBI bulls at the high of the day. So that's standing out as one of our stronger sectors initially here, only 3 minutes into the morning. XBI bulls would love to see IWM set a new high of the day as well. TLRY, we're seeing the cannabis space with some green out there. We know the bulls have a ton of work to do, but TLRY has broken the high of Friday. Good start. Next resistance is 563, the high of Thursday. And then there's a double top at 587. And 587 is the more meaningful level for me. And again, it's an hourly uptrend like many other names. And cannabis bulls want to see IWM strength, and IWM is at the high of the day. So a good sign for XBI bulls. NIO new high of the day. Nice recovery from a quick 3% little pullback there. So here's QQQ's 1 minute V-shaped bounce. Are we just going to fail the high of the day and form a 1 minute equilibrium? Remains to be seen, but a decent amount of volatility here. First thing, clear little bull-bear battle. And again, this is why I sit out the first 15 minutes very often, just because you get these complete V-shaped turnarounds. And here's QQQ right back to the high of the day, testing that level. Just broke it. No follow through at the moment, but a significant bounce off that low of the day. Next resistance level on XBI. As the daily bounce is underway, 91.67 stands out. This is a spot to top fish QQQ here. I wasn't even logged into my account, so I'm a little behind things, but watching to see if I can find a spot that I like. But being patient because QQQ is at the high of the day. Tesla Bull's off to a great start as well. Same with NIO, so EV names looking solid. Biotech sector, lead bull, as long as IWM is strong. IWM is testing that high of Friday right now. 195.31. So we broke it, but need follow through. So I'm in no rush to do anything just yet. I'm watching a 1 minute inside bar on QQQ right now, and if that 1 minute inside bar were to break bear, I would grab an SQQQ position. And again, it's really just a hedge mindset for me because I only have bull exposure right now. Bitcoin bulls responding fairly well. They're at the high of the morning. Again, that high of pre-market on QQQ is in play, 354.60. So that's a top fish level. So I'm going to enter that SQQQ position right now, and if 354.60 breaks with some conviction, I will exit. So again, it's just a very low risk top fish to protect my open bullish positions. So grab some SQQQ. And it's all about 354.60 for me. High of pre-market on QQQ. So now QQQ is pulling back. My SQQQ position is going up a little bit to offset the NIO pullback from the high of the day. But bulls are still fine on QQQ. It's a potential 1 minute bull flag here. Again, I'm trading differently because I have open positions than I would be if I had no open positions. CLX. So CLX is a daily inside bar, and it's actually pretty much 2 daily inside bars in a row. So just a real tight range. Bulls need to hold 165.06 support to try and hold that hourly high or low from Friday. But just real tight and waiting for a break of the daily inside bar in the short term. Crypto request API 3 is just at all-time lows. So maybe it's not on other exchanges. Yeah, it's not on KuCoin. So we've got support of really just 335.7 here is the only thing before 235. And we did break 335.7. So bears definitely have control here. Downtrend on a lot of time frames. Daily, 4-hour, hourly, all clear downtrends. Anything under 344, just an hourly lower high. And again, if we break 333, there's just not much in play as far as previous support levels. So I'm on the verge of stopping out that SQQQ protection position. 1 minute bull flag confirmed on QQQ. So all out that protection, and now again, just back to real patient. As bulls are confirming a 4-hour bull flag. So again, back to our futures chart. NASDAQ 100 USD, very brief little 4-hour pullback. And here we are testing the high of last week's bounce. And for QQQ, that's 356.88. So still $1.50 away, but that is the level. And if it breaks, we confirm the daily trend change today. So bulls are definitely pleased with how things have started, but they need a little bit more follow through. Plenty of space for a 5-minute higher low to try and form on QQQ. Next time we see consolidation. And Netflix bulls, again, lead bull pre-market due to the upgrade. And here we are testing 409.15, and we are in gap fill territory now. So Netflix bulls are loving the morning. NVDA is a lead bull. XBI. Who is weak? Clearly the financial sector. They're at the low of the day. So the financial sector is continuing to tighten up on the daily time frame. Google is standing out weaker than peers. So I look around at peers. I see Amazon's up 2%. And Apple's up 0.8%. And Google is red. SOFI. So a lot of 5-minute inside bars. That tells me we likely have a 2-minute equilibrium forming, which we do. So nice and clear. Anything under 1130 is just a lower high and just a tightening 2-minute range. And we are battling high of Friday resistance. So break the 2-minute equilibrium bull and the daily bounce is underway. And if we break it bear, we're looking at hourly support of 1069. So bulls must get over 1134. And then the next level from there. Extended hours 1171, 1178. But a clear 2-minute equilibrium there. So still all QQQ bulls on the morning. Tesla, nice new leg up here. We're looking at 900 psychological. Already up very significantly on the morning. ZIM. Weakness first thing, anything under the high of the day is a 5-minute lower high. And it's just a daily inside bar. We failed the high of Friday resistance test first thing. And now we're looking down towards hourly support of 63.41, which broke, and then the low of Friday is next, 62.13. So daily inside bar, and the bulls need a 5-minute trend change in their favor to have any confidence that that daily inside bar is going to hold the low of Friday support. So with how we're starting this morning, aggressive bears are definitely keeping an eye out for an entry, just because, again, some names are up 4-6%. And QQQ will need 5-minute consolidation at some point, but it's only the most aggressive bears that are looking for an entry on these names. And again, the way that I like to wait, if I am looking to be an aggressive bear, I want to wait for a big enough pullback. This is Tesla's 2-minute. I want to see a big enough pullback where we're going to look for a 2-minute high or low, but then I can top fish looking for the 2-minute lower high with my stop above the high of the day. Again, have to have a clear level nearby if I'm going to be looking at trying to play counter this short-term bull momentum. And I personally am not looking to be an aggressive bear. The only thing I was looking to do was to protect. Little stop out, small loss, giving back some of the overnight swing gains, but back to patient now, watching to see what 5-minute consolidation looks like on QQQ next time we see it. Ethereum's doing the same thing as Bitcoin. Anything under, I would consider anything under 2642 as a 4-hour lower high. But really it's the daily, or the 12 hours the most clear for me. 12-hour equilibrium. So low of the dump, high of the initial bounce, higher low, lower high. And the bulls are hoping that 2478 is now a 12-hour higher low. And we must break 2642 for an equilibrium bull break. Man, NIO is looking real good. Again, couldn't have asked for better bounce follow through. NIO resistance is 2281, and at this point off the low of Friday, we're up 17% almost. MNMD also looking great, but anything under 132 is just a daily lower high, so I'm anticipating a tightening daily range this week is the most likely scenario. So we don't really have enough information. Question is, what's the Bitcoin correlation with SPY and QQQ? And it's correlated, but I don't really have a ton of information right now because we've only been trading for 16 minutes. So it's not very clear. We saw the same morning dip. We saw the same new high of the morning. But nothing is standing out as notable to me as far as differences. Gonna have to take some NIO profit here, even though it is a swing position. And NIO gave a really good volume climax signal for the high of Friday, and that was the high for the rest of the day. So I'm keeping an eye out for a volume climax to potentially shape up. And my goal here would be to exit some of my swing position and just look to reload it, even on brief consolidation. So up 8%, I am going to take a bit of my swing position off of NIO. And even if it's just 5-minute consolidation, as long as I'm re-entering lower than where I sold it, it's good enough for me. QQQ potentially shaping up for 5-minute consolidation. We'll look for a 5-minute higher low. It really is the QQQ show here so far in the morning. Facebook and Google not doing much. Netflix continues to stand out as it works through gap fill territory. If we're going to see fear completely alleviated from this market, again, one sector breaking resistance would be great. If QQQ can get over 356.88, that's a great sign. But if we're going to have full-on confidence, we need the financial sector to break resistance. We need the healthcare sector to keep strong, which it is. But really, the financial sector is lagging here. And we're watching for the potential of a daily inside bar on XLF now, but As long as we have some of our major sectors remaining under high of last week's bounce high, it's not going to be full on bull confidence. DDOG. Solid start for the bulls. 5-minute consolidation underway, same as QQQ and a lot of other individual names. Broke the high of last week's daily bounce top. So that's a good start. And next resistance from here, looking up at 147.81. And bulls definitely want to maintain low of today as our new hourly higher low. But we do still need a 5-minute higher low and higher high to have confidence in that support level. So QQQ has 10 minutes of pullback. What's XLF doing? 10 minutes of bounce. So now they are starting to be a little bit inverse to each other. And again, that's something I'm constantly watching for. And at the moment, since the bell rang, they are inverse. They weren't in the first 2 minutes, but on the whole, the 5-minute charts are inverse to each other right now. OPEN. Very strong start for the bulls. Daily bounce is underway, but again, the high of last week's bounce, 958 is key resistance. QQQ is not breaking its daily resistance at this point. So we're watching all individual names. Low of today will be our hourly higher low, and anything above 888 will be a 5-minute higher low on this pullback. I'm watching the retracement size on QQQ here very closely on this 5-minute pullback. The last thing the bulls want to see is a hard pullback from just under daily resistance. If we can 5-minute bull flag and see a new high of the day, we're going to be knocking on the door of that resistance today. So a 5-minute bull flag attempt. As QQQ testing the high of the day. I'll be looking to re-enter my NIO swing position that I sold. I think it was 22.59. I'll be looking to re-enter that on 15-minute consolidation as the 15-minute RSI is now above 80. Good sign for the bulls on QQQ for that bull flag to confirm. And again, that daily resistance, 356.88, now less than $1 away. IWM high of the day. XLF has not clearly topped out on its bounce yet, so now that's a bullish correlation that favors the SPY bulls because XLF is not testing the low of the day while QQQ now has a new high of the day. So far, pretty good morning for the bulls. It's just all about those daily resistance levels. SPY has further to go than QQQ, but it is still in play as well, 440.404. We've only got about $1 and change to go. So QQQ would likely break first, but SPY is not too far behind it. BYND. Another great start to the morning for the bulls. Have not seen 5-minute consolidation yet since the bell rang. Daily resistance, 64.55 is the key level. And plenty of space for a 5-minute higher low to form next consolidation. So make note, QQQ just hit a new high of the day. Who has not? Tesla has, NIO has. So any names that have not hit a new high of the day with QQQ stand out as a bit weaker now. Amazon has not. It's still a potential 5-minute bull flag, but it's now lagging behind a little bit. So again, these are just the constant little observations that I'm looking at to try and determine relative strength, relative weakness. So Amazon's chart in itself is still fine for the bulls, but I can say Amazon is weaker than QQQ. Good day for the MJ sector. CGC leading the way up 5%. USMJ, solid day. USMJ is going to get interesting this week as we now have a daily equilibrium. So held the daily low, and now anything under 2208 is just a lower high. So potential for a tightening range unless we see increasing bull volume. Coin. So coin, nice new high of the day. Checking in on Bitcoin. So Bitcoin strong as well. Watching the 5-minute uptrend on Bitcoin. So coins, daily resistance, anything under 198.05 is just a lower high. That's a long ways away. That's 9% from where we stand right now. So bulls have short-term control. We're testing the high of Friday, 181.75 right now. And we have to break that level to confirm the hourly uptrend to the bulls. So it's all about 181.75. And if it breaks, 182.75 is the high of Thursday right behind it. But again, it's another name that has a ton of distance to go before we get to daily lower high resistance. QQQ testing daily resistance. Would a bear playoff 356.88 in QQQ be an example of picking a fight with the biggest kid in the schoolyard? So I would say yes, it's our lead bull sector. But that being said, I would just attribute it to being high probability I'm going to stop out. But again, as long as risk is real small, then that is okay. It's just a very clear level. So if you give me a weak name and a strong name, and on the weak name there's no level nearby for me to put a tight stop on and no way for me to gauge a solid risk reward scenario, then I would rather take the stronger name that has a level right nearby. And in this instance on QQQ, even right now, just the 1-minute time frame being a bit extended into that resistance, an initial rejection by 13 pennies. So again, your probability of stopping out is definitely high, but it's very low risk. And it's just what I did with my initial protection top fish attempt on QQQ first thing this morning. NIO at 23. Next resistance there is 2304 is a little level. And then 24 psychological. NIO is a 5-minute stair step pattern. So key QQQ resistance test, SPY is still $1 away from its key test. Again, it's XLF holding the broader market back a bit. Current swing positions are up almost a 3-day maker for me, so I'm going to be just very patient. And because I already had that one protection attempt, I'm not going to do a whole lot more attempting bearish entries. Just going to be patiently watching. Again, if we get a big enough pullback that sets up a clear top fish for a 2-minute lower high or a 5-minute lower high, that's when I'm much more likely to make an entry. But lead bulls are keeping their lead bull status for now. Tesla's starting to show a little bit of weakness, just under 900 psychological. Not much, but again, just seeing that QQQ is at its high of the day and Tesla is not, just starts to show me a little bit of a bearish correlation. Amazon still has not seen a new high of the day. So ever since that point where it shifted its correlation with QQQ, it has been clearly weaker. And we can say Amazon is not positioned well for the next time QQQ sees 5-minute consolidation, as it's been consolidating now for 20 minutes while QQQ keeps ripping. So check mark number 1 for the bulls. QQQ just confirmed a daily trend change with a little higher low and a higher high. But we're not going to keep the bigger picture. We're not going to forget the bigger picture, which is QQQ now. We zoom out, so daily trend change. We zoom out knowing that we're just looking for a weekly lower high to be the result of this bounce. And again, we do the same thing all over again. What is the retracement size of this bounce? Can it be a weekly bear flag? The answer is yes, absolutely, that's on the table. Especially if Google, Facebook, and Amazon all have bearish earnings reactions, there's a potential weekly bear flag on the table. But the ideal scenario for the bulls this week would be to keep enough control to see enough bounce retracement to be making its way towards the 50% level to create the space for a weekly higher low to form once we do top out. So again, always looking into the future so we don't forget. The last thing I want to do is get overly bullish now and just say, okay, well, bulls win, game over. Because that is not the case. It's bulls win on the daily, and now they got a battle on the weekly. Bitcoin bulls still keeping their control. Real nice QQQ follow through. Again, that's why the mornings are so tricky. Remember the 1 minute QQQ rolled over, V-shaped bounce. That's why those first few minutes playing out can give us a lot more clarity. Because it took 2 minutes. For 2 minutes, there was an there for bulls, but it certainly did not last long. And look at the volume, the V-shape increasing bull volume. XLF is now testing the high of the day. Great sign for the SPY bulls. SPY is testing its bounce high, 444.04. We broke it. If XLF fails its high of the day of 38.54, we'll watch for a 5-minute equilibrium. But great sign that our weakest sector is testing the high of the day. IWM bulls are benefiting. XBI bulls are benefiting. So now it's definitely a market-wide win for the bulls on the morning. And we'll see if XLF can get that new high of the day. Actually, it already did, didn't it? High was 38.50. So yeah, we do already have a new high of the day. So all major sectors up near their highs. And now the question is, how long can bulls maintain 5-minute uptrends? 5-minute and hourly uptrends are our guides on this move. As far as how long can bulls maintain short-term control. We're seeing Tesla continue with a little bit of relative weakness comparative to QQQ. It's starting 5-minute consolidation while QQQ is not. Thoughts on F? Great V-shaped bounce. So F correlates to XLF. So F is benefiting big time from XLF's new V-shape high of the day. So now on the daily for F, our daily high or low is set. And just like everybody else, it's all about daily resistance. So 2093, still a long ways away. So a possible scenario would be if we can't break 2093, it's just a lower high and continued tightening range. And then earnings would dictate things from there. NIO certainly with abnormal call volume when you're up 10% on the day. No surprise there. CGC does have a daily trend change, probably the first time in something like 3 months. Cron has one as well. TLRY and ACB have more work to do. Bulls wanting positions at this point. Wow, look at that CGC 5-minute stair step. Aggressive bears are going to watch for an entry, or bulls looking for a profit-taking signal can use that 5-minute stair step. Bulls wanting entries at this point, you have to determine aggressive or conservative. An aggressive bull is going to look for an entry on a 15-minute high or low. A patient bull is going to wait for an hourly high or low. Did I see US 10-year is above 180? Honestly, US 10-year has absolutely no impact on my trading and never has. Doesn't mean it can't for other individuals, but it just does not impact my trading in any way, shape, or form. Same with the VIX. Just doesn't. I've been charting the VIX for 6 years on a daily basis. Have never found an instance where it helps my trading. Bulls win in the morning. We'll see if they can keep control throughout the day. Watching our short-term uptrends as guides. Big time fear alleviated, at least in the short term. Again, that CGC 5-minute stair step, if I'm a bull in a position, knowing I want to take some profit, just waiting on that signal. As long as we set a 5-minute high or low every candle, bulls keep complete control. And we are seeing our most beat up, weakest name seeing confidence return. And we'll see if that's the case for the cryptocurrency space as well. In fact, I'm going to grab some Ethereum. Just a starter. Sold Ethereum at 2,700, so grabbing some back. $100 lower. And my stop on Ethereum is going to be this 12-hour high or low. So if 2478 breaks, that's a big red flag for me, but I'm grabbing a position, seeing confidence in the stock market and looking for crypto to try and see some short-term bull breaks on their daily timeframes to follow along. So the way that I view the market is once we get confidence, we see that confidence bleed out into our weakest places. And the fact that the cannabis sector is up so significantly is just one instance of that. Amazon bulls trying to recover. So high of the day test. Fortunate for those bulls, the QQQ is still just ripping. As is NIO. Little uptick in bull volume on QQQ 5-minute time frame is a good sign. XLF still at the high of the day. Everybody's at the high of the day. BBBY. One moment. Just informing the crypto chat room of my Ethereum entry. So BBBY, great start for the bulls. Little short-term support level there at 16.17. Daily trend change confirmed. Nice little inverse head and shoulders on the daily there. $16.38 broke. Now 16.66. And then 17. And zoom out to scout the weekly lower high as a result of this bounce. Tons of space for it, but bulls have short-term control. What is our next QQQ resistance level? We are at daily EMA 12 right now. And with not much else nearby, that's really the next resistance level. Otherwise, it's 362.18. So if we're going to see continued confidence in the market this week, we want to see bullish reactions to as many earnings as possible, obviously. But we want to see XLF over 39.34. We want to see that daily trend change confirmed there as well. And then we're going to be looking at our weaker sectors. IWM, great start to the week, but even from where we stand, we need another... Come on, measurement tool. That's because I'm hitting caps lock. So we need another over 3% just to get to daily resistance. So now that we have this bull move, this is the 4-hour potential inverse head and shoulders I'm going to be keeping an eye on, where if we fail that daily resistance initially, watching for that higher low and then bull continuation, but again, still a bit premature there. Just know that's what I'm going to be looking ahead to towards middle of the week. Another short-term guide, I use the EMAs, so I can pull up a 2-minute chart and say, okay, QQQ, as long as 2-minute EMA 12 is support, the bulls have absolute complete control. We know 15-minute consolidation is going to be inevitable in the names that have run all morning. But if 2-minute EMA 12 is holding, then that 2-minute consolidation is not shaping up. SPY, same thing. 2-minute EMA 12, still easily holding. CGC is still a 5-minute stair step pattern. We would have to break 783 for that to change. I will be looking to exit the rest of my NIO swing here on this move. Again, it's just too much too fast. If you give me 20% gains, including Friday, in less than 2 full days of trading, I lock it in every time. And if I'm wrong, I leave money on the table. But that is the way I operate. And again, I will be looking to reload those swing positions on 15-minute or hourly consolidation, but happily will lock those in. Not just yet. But the game plan has shifted due to the speed of that move. XOM, nice V-shaped bounce. We have not confirmed a 5-minute trend change yet off the low of the day, but obviously tons of space for that 5-minute higher low to form now. Again, it's another name that's correlating with XLF and benefiting from its V-shaped bounce. Daily in sidebar testing resistance of 75.62. So 75.62 high of Friday, key level. And if that breaks, 76.01 is the top of this move at this point. All right, things slowing down a little bit, but bulls are still keeping their full control. 2-minute EMA 12 support, CGC high of the day, still with its 5-minute stair step pattern, almost up 10%. A clear sentiment shift. It started Friday, certainly carrying through today. Bigger picture, we'll have lots of proving to do, but bulls proving it to start the week. Out another quarter of NIO in the 2330s. QQQ 5-minute consolidation underway. Tons of space for the 5-minute higher low. Again, we're likely going to see hourly consolidation at some point today. So the 5-minute uptrend is going to be our guide as to when that is potentially shaping up. Facebook bulls played catch up, but Google's still not doing anything. 5-minute equilibrium on Google. QQQ is still possible for another 5-minute bull flag attempt. We are still holding 2-minute EMA 12. Losing 2-minute EMA 12 would be the first little shift on the morning, potentially shaping up some more significant consolidation. Next SPY resistance, I'm looking at 448.06, yes. So XBI, anything under 95.62 is a daily lower high. That's going to be our key resistance. IWM, it's 203.55. So the weaker sectors still have some proving to do, but stronger sectors leading the way. That's Sweetie Pants wanting to go outside. QQQ 5-minute bull flag confirmed, as we've got that EMA 12 on the 2-minute time frame still holding. That is the short-term guide. You can see the Netflix bulls really enjoying that lack of resistance in gap-filled territory, up 8%. So I'm now all out my NIO swing. If it goes to the moon without me, congrats to the bulls that keep holding. But I will be looking to re-enter on some 15-minute or hourly consolidation. At this point, I would need to get back in right around 23 as far as the average of where I sold. QQQ bull flag confirming without much follow-through is the first little indication of, okay, bull's getting a bit tired. Might be time for a 15-minute pullback. But it's still the 2-minute EMA 12 for me. Very clear guide. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. Be back in the chat room in 15 minutes. Thanks everybody for tuning in and checking it out. I do this every Monday through Wednesday. Dinsey does it Thursday. Lori's got her streams. Lamont's got his streams. Jason's got his streams. I hope you have a good rest of your day.